The sudden appearance of the USS Gettysburg, CG-64, in the southern Caribbean marks a notable, if unannounced, escalation of U.S. naval presence near Venezuelan waters. Officially, the mission is framed within U.S. Southern Command's maritime security and counter-narcotics portfolio, a standing mandate that covers interdiction of illicit trafficking, support to regional partners, and protection of vital sea lanes. Unofficially, the deployment reads as a carefully calibrated signal: the United States can thicken its posture in the hemisphere quickly, quietly, and with platforms that bring outsized command and control capacity. Gettysburg's arrival alongside USS Lake Erie, CG-70, effectively doubles that capability, transforming a routine task group into a formation with theater-level reach. The Ticonderoga-class cruiser is not just a gray hull with missiles, it is a floating nerve center designed to consolidate information, coordinate responses, and defend high-value units under contested conditions. Its Aegis Combat System fuses tracks from organic sensors, cooperating ships, and aircraft to compose a coherent air and surface picture across hundreds of miles. In practical terms, this allows the task group to see more, decide faster, and act with greater confidence. Standard missiles extend layered air defense well beyond point protection ranges, while Tomahawk land attack missiles, though unlikely to feature in a counter-smuggling context, add a deterrent dimension that cannot be ignored by state actors watching from ashore. The Caribbean operating environment rewards persistence and flexibility. Traffickers adapt their methods quickly, launching semi-submersible craft, low-profile boats, and mothership-supported skiffs that crouch in radar shadows and exploit the clutter of commercial traffic. A cruiser's command suite shortens the timeline between detection, classification, and interdiction. Maritime patrol aircraft and drones can cue the surface force, cutters and partner nation patrol boats can be vectored with precision, and helicopters can conduct fast, surgical intercepts when fleeting targets appear. By adding Gettysburg to the stack, SOUTHCOM introduces more sensor fusion, more communication pathways, and more on-scene decision bandwidth at the exact point where milliseconds matter. The timing of the reinforcement inevitably intersects with politics. Diplomatic friction between Washington and Caracas has simmered for years and spikes whenever U.S. ships operate close to Venezuela's claimed maritime approaches. Caracas tends to frame such movements as provocation. U.S. officials emphasize the legality of operating in international waters and the necessity of counter-trafficking missions that benefit the wider region. Those competing narratives will persist, but they do not alter the operational logic. Illicit networks exploit the same geography that commercial shipping uses, and they thrive on gaps in surveillance. Filling those gaps is a technical and logistical challenge as much as it is a diplomatic one, and cruisers are built to solve precisely those technical problems at scale. It is also useful to view the deployment through the lens of readiness and signaling. A Ticonderoga-class ship carries not only weapons, but planners, communicators, and the spaces to run complex operations. Embarked staffs can coordinate interdictions 1 hour and humanitarian assistance the next. That agility helps the United States demonstrate commitment to hemispheric security without announcing a new named operation or altering the rules of engagement. The subtlety is the point. By swapping in a cruiser rather than publicizing a surge of additional platforms, Washington preserves flexibility, reassures partners, and leaves room to de-escalate without fanfare if conditions permit. Gettysburg's history underscores that versatility. Commissioned in the early 1990s, the ship has participated in strike group operations and independent deployments alike, acting alternately as shield, scout, and command node. Even as the class approaches retirement windows, these cruisers remain formidable. Their radars track hundreds of objects at once, their combat systems deconflict engagements across multiple axes, their communications architectures stitch together joint and allied forces spread over wide maritime spaces. In a theater where distances are deceptive and weather can quickly complicate pursuits, that blend of power and coordination is not a luxury. It is the difference between a close call and a clean interdiction. Regional partners will notice the change immediately, not least because a cruiser can help them do more with what they already have. Many Caribbean and Latin American forces bring radars, patrol boats, maritime aircraft, and specialized boarding teams to the table. What they often lack is a persistent know to aggregate data in real time and allocate assets with confidence when targets move across jurisdictions. Gettysburg's presence can help knit these efforts together, enabling shared situational awareness and faster handoffs during cross-border chases. In this way, the deployment multiplies the effectiveness of existing networks rather than substituting for them. Critics may argue that deploying high-end surface combatants to counter smugglers is disproportionate. Yet that view overlooks the dual-use nature of naval power. Ships do not deploy for single-mission silos, they deploy for contingencies in complex environments. A cruiser on Station Dieter's airborne harassment, guards the task group against surprise, and reassures partners that help will not evaporate if conditions worsen. That confidence in turn encourages information sharing and joint planning, which are the real force multipliers against agile, networked criminal enterprises. Disruption succeeds not because any one ship is perfect for the job, but because the system as a whole closes seams faster than traffickers can exploit them. The optics near Venezuela will remain sensitive. Every port call, underway replenishment, and air patrol track will be scrutinized for clues about duration and intent. The Navy is unlikely to provide a timetable, and that ambiguity serves a purpose. It complicates an adversary's calculus and tamps down unproductive public sparring over fixed end dates. Observers can still watch the logistics rhythms. If replenishments become routine and helicopter flight hours accumulate, persistence is the plan. If the cruiser cycles out quickly, the message may be that Washington intended a short, sharp injection of capability tied to specific intelligence or seasonal trafficking patterns. None of this crowds out the baseline mission. Cocaine and other illicit cargoes continue to move north by sea, and interdiction remains a game of probabilities. Saturation patrols, fused intelligence, and rapid, coordinated responses raise the odds of seizure, compel smugglers to choose riskier routes, and drive up costs for cartels. Each interdiction also yields a stream of data, routes, methods, financiers, that feeds the next operation. A cruiser accelerates this loop, allowing commanders to push from detection to exploitation with fewer dropped threads and less friction among the many agencies and nations involved. The deployment's strategic effect may be subtle but cumulative. Presence is a message, persistence is a strategy. By reinforcing a task force with a ship like Gettysburg, the United States signals that it can scale up or down without drama, keep watch over vital sea lanes, and help partners shoulder the burden of regional security. For a zone where criminal networks, economic headwinds, and geopolitical tension intersect, that balance of vigilance and restraint is precisely the point. The ship silhouette on the horizon is not a prelude to conflict, but a reminder that the maritime commons remain watched, and that cooperation, backed by capability, still sets the tone in the southern Caribbean. Ultimately, the Gettysburg's unscheduled mission near Venezuelan waters is less an anomaly than a case study in how modern navies adapt to layered risk. The same sensors that track hostile aircraft also find low-profile boats. The same command spaces that manage complex air battles also orchestrate multinational interdictions. The same presence that Dieter's state actors also complicates criminal logistics. In bringing that full spectrum to a region where both types of challenge coexist, the United States has chosen an instrument calibrated for nuance. Whether the deployment lasts weeks or months, its effect will be measured in tighter surveillance nets, faster interdictions, and a steadier rhythm of cooperation across a sea that has rarely been quiet.